Welcome to the official YouTube channel for the Colin Cowherd podcast. Go on, hit the subscribe button. There it is, so you don't miss any of our football content this season. It has been, if I might say, fantastic. Well, it's the most wonderful time of the year for getting in on all the basketball, football, hockey action at DraftKings Sportsbook. It's the season of giving, so we're being gifted college football and basketball, pro football, basketball, pro hockey to almost 24/7. It's an absolutely great time of the year. So a lot of games every day, so many opportunities to place your first bet. Now, if you're going to bet for the first time, just make it simple. Pick a team to win, any team. Go to DraftKings Sportsbook. They have an app. Download it in 90 seconds. Here's the gift for all new customers. Bet $5, just $5. If your bet wins, you get $150 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. The code is Colin, C-O-L-I-N. New customers, $150 in bonus bets. If you bet $5 and it wins. Happy holidays from DraftKings. The crown is yours. All right, little Monday night football reaction. Falcons beat the Raiders. Not much to say. Kirk Cousins is really struggling. Not sure why they don't put Michael Penix in. He was a highly experienced college quarterback from Indiana to Washington, played with NFL receivers and offensive linemen, with an NFL-level head coach, Kalen DeBoer, who I think is really, really good. He'll get Alabama humming by next year. I don't get it. Raheem Morris, defensive coach. Maybe he doesn't sense the urgency. I don't know if there were promises to Kirk Cousins, but if Michael Penix isn't better than Kirk Cousins, then that's a wasted or miss on a first-round pick, because right now Kirk Cousins does not have his fastball. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears. So they lost to the Vikings. I didn't think Sam Darnold played particularly well, but he's getting the ball to T.J. Hawkinson, Jordan Addison, and Justin Jefferson. So he's getting the ball to the right people. I thought he was a little high, missed some throws, but overall, Minnesota was picked for third or fourth. I mean, it's all gravy at this point. Listen, let's start with the Chicago Bears. There are a couple franchises in this league that are just broken, and I think the Chicago Bears are top of the list. It's a broken franchise. The McCaskies are arguably the worst owners in the league, oldest and among the poorest, really out of touch. Kevin Warren's the president. I've been told for years, highly political. Charles Robinson of Yahoo reporting today that, somebody that seeks power and to retain power. That's a little what I was told years ago. Don't know him personally, but that's what I've been told from two sources I trust. Ryan Poles is young. I'm hit and miss on Poles. I love the Montez Sweat deal, the DJ Moore deal. I don't think he's the problem in the organization. I think Ryan Poles is struggling with the people above him. But a great example of the dysfunction. So Matt Eberflus, a defensive coach, was fired. Well, defensive coaches don't have the offensive connections that offensive coaches do. I mean, there is a reason Andy Reid keeps hiring really good offensive coaches, right? Like their offense. Now, Reid does most of the play calling, but Doug Peterson got a head coaching job. Matt Nagy got a head coaching job. And by the way, got Mitch Trubisky to the playoffs twice. So you can say all you want about Matt Nagy. You die for Matt Nagy now in Chicago. And then there's a reason that, Belichick had to rely on Josh McDaniels. When Josh left, Bill was scrambling to find an offensive coordinator, but Sean McVay can find one every 2 years. So Thomas Brown was under Shane Waldron. Well, Eberflus doesn't have a lot of great offensive connections, clearly, because when Shane Waldron left Seattle, he was criticized. They rolled their eyes at him. He went to Chicago. It was a mess with Caleb Williams. Then Thomas Brown, who's a bright young guy, he coached with the Rams, but he's an interim head coach. This is his third different job this season with the Bears. I mean, HR is probably asking him to slow down so they can get his paycheck right. I'm not going to blame him. But Eberflus selected this staff, and it's not very good. I think it's a broken franchise. And my take is, if you're really honest about it, you know what they remind me of? I was thinking about it tonight. They remind me a lot. The Bears are the Chargers last season, where they had a talented young quarterback, some really nice pieces, but major cultural issues. And what did they do? They went and got Jim Harbaugh to fix it. And that's why Mike Vrabel's the hire. Vrabel is Dan Campbell, but less reckless. He's Jim Harbaugh, but to this point hasn't been as successful. He's a really smart guy. He's a culture changer. There's no bullshit with him. He's very honest and very upfront. And he got to an AFC championship, with Tennessee. So I just think Vrabel's the call here. And I guess Vrabel, and I've talked to Mike about this. Vrabel is the kind of guy that will come in, and the only thing that would get in his way is a Kevin Warren level executive that was trying to retain power. If Vrabel has some say in personnel, he's pretty good at that, and has a great relationship with the general manager who he can answer to and trust, I think Vrabel could win immediately. I think, again, I'll say this, the Bears have a Chargers feel. Now, the Chargers are not going to go from what they were last year to a Super Bowl. They need another draft. They have to hit on another receiver, maybe another tight end, another running back. They need more pieces offensively. And the Bears with Vrabel are not winning a Super Bowl, especially out of that division. And I think the Bears need to shore up the offensive line. But more than that, maybe another edge rusher. More than that, I think it's just a cultural modification is what they need. But it's rough. I mean, you can say what you want about the Jets and Woody Johnson, and I think he's one of the weaker owners, but they have a good roster. Aaron's played well in the last 3 to 4 weeks. He's had a 100-plus passer rating, I think, on average over the last 4 weeks. The Giants have issues, but, there's some pieces there of that defensive front. And the Maras don't want to fire Brian Daboll because they've run through coaches, but the team looks like they've quit. But with Chicago, there's just not much to like. I like Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson. I like Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, Swift, the running back. There's some Cole Kmet. There's some pieces I like, but I don't know what you do other than hire Mike Vrabel. This is not a job for a coordinator. Give me a break. You're not going to get a Ben Johnson here. Bobby Slowick is not going to turn this thing around. You're a mile from that. And I'll make this argument. I think, and I talked to Mike Vrabel about this, and my suggestion to him is, I'm not sure if I'd take a job this year. I think next year you could have much more attractive openings. If Joe Burrow is getting really tired of Zach Taylor, the coach of Cincinnati, they won't fire him at the end of this year. But if Joe Burrow makes demands, Zach Taylor's in trouble next year. For Joe Burrow to ream Zach Taylor out, knowing he's on TV the way he reamed him out, Burrow's got no time for this nonsense in Cincinnati. So that job could be open next year. I think Mike McCarthy in Dallas, I think he's probably saved his job, right? He's probably saved it. And if Dallas can move Micah Parsons, get a couple of first-round picks, hit on those, who knows? But also, I think that could be open. So, 7 different coaches get whacked every year. I just don't like the job openings. I love Caleb Williams. Chicago, to me, is it feels like quicksand for a coach. Jacksonville's got an opening. There's a reason everybody fails here in Jacksonville. Like since Tom Coughlin left, it's just dead coach walking. Nobody works there. So there's got to be something systemic within the organization. And I think what you're really seeing now, and I was having this discussion this weekend with somebody I respect a lot, and he said, you start looking around this league, and it's just the power of 10. There's about 10 good GMs, 10 good owners, 10 good quarterbacks, 10 good left tackles. And I just don't like, if you're Mike Vrabel, I don't like what's out there. I love Chicago. It's a great city. There's good pieces. But man, anybody watching this show, watching this podcast or listening, It does not matter how good the employees are. If ownership and management is sideways, it doesn't matter. I've said this before. I've been really fortunate. I had a really good ownership in Las Vegas, my first job. Um, Obviously, ESPN and Fox are well-run companies. Portland, I thought we had good ownership, good management. I worked in Tampa for a couple of years, and really, really talented people in the newsroom, photojournalists, producers, reporters, anchors. It was not the employees. I thought management was a circus, and I'll just leave it at that. And you couldn't overcome it. And it was a real learning moment for me is that the employee base was the best I'd ever worked with at the time. I thought there was just so many talented people. Our sports department was just really fun, clever, smart people. But you can't like in Chicago. It doesn't matter if Vrabel's the coach and he's trying to change things. Eventually, if people are political upstairs, I mean, it's like look at the Jets. They fire Robert Saleh, the best coach on the staff. I mean, going into a game against Buffalo, if they won it, they were in first place. I mean, they fired Joe Douglas. Well, Joe Douglas got you Devontae Adams, who's playing great now. Joe Douglas missed on a quarterback. But Joe Douglas hit on that Jets roster. It's got dudes. I mean, they really do. They're going to get another very good first round pick this year. They've got a left tackle for the future. They've got their corner. They've got weapons. I mean, they can really be selective. The Jets could move down in the first round and get 4 or 5. If they moved down and got another second round pick or a second and a fourth round pick, you could have 5 new starters on the team next year. And I think the Jets, I mean, they really have their weapons. They have their left tackle, the Penn State kid, a couple of good receivers, good corners, pass rushers. So, I mean, I thought Saul and Joe Douglas were capable. They're both out. So there's nothing you can do if upstairs is messed up. There's just, in my experience in life, there's nothing you can do. This week's college football preview is brought to you by our friends at Cosm. It's the world's greatest fan experience. So if you're in LA or Dallas and you want an immersive experience, go check it out. Indiana and Notre Dame, Tennessee versus Ohio State playoff games in the Cosm Immersive Dome this Friday and Saturday, as well as every game is on in the hall. So Friday, December 20th, it's the Battle of Indiana. The Hoosiers travel to South Bend to face the Fighting Irish. And then Saturday, December 21st, the Tennessee Volunteers go to Columbus to take on the Buckeyes in the first ever college football playoff games. The winner of that epic matchup goes to face Oregon, the number 1 seed in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. How good is that? The Dome is awesome. Been there many times. There are no multi-viewing experiences like the Hall in either market. Take the college football playoffs to a whole new level. Every play comes to life, putting you right on the field. Get tickets now, very easy at Cosm, C-O-S-M, Cosm.com. I make picks Blazing 5, and I had another terrible week. Generally, I've been doing this Blazing 5 thing for like 20 years. And on average, I hit about 56%, 55, 57%. This is my worst year easily. I don't know why. I've just struggled all year long. But it's funny because on the bigger preseason predictions for division champions, I've actually had the best year I've ever had. I had Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, and the Texans winning their division. If Baltimore beats the Steelers Saturday, I'll be 4 for 4 heading to the last couple of weeks. I had Philly, the Rams, Green Bay, and the Falcons winning their divisions. Philly and the Rams do lead. Green Bay and the Falcons still have a shot, although Atlanta right now, though beating the Raiders tonight, they got to get quarterback solved. My 2 dark horse teams were Washington and Denver. They'll both make the playoffs. So I actually have, in terms of predictions, I think I've had a really good year. I don't know why I'm struggling so much. I've just been out of rhythm. The weekends I take favorites. They go belly up. The weekends I take dogs. I have the wrong ones, but I love doing it. And I always feel bad. I don't mind losing money. I don't like anybody else to lose it, but I've been picking football games for so long. An old story, when I first moved to Las Vegas, I had no money. I was out of college, and I drove down to Vegas in a blue AMC Pacer that later caught fire a couple years later on Charleston and Oakey streets in Las Vegas by a Texaco station. I pulled in, my car was on fire. Um, and I remember when I first moved to Vegas, I'd never bet football games. And so I was a huge at the time, Pac-10 fan. And so I really started hitting on a lot of Pac-10 picks because all the games weren't televised. I knew the Pacific Northwest teams really well because I was from there. I remember one year, I think I was like 10-1 on Oregon State games. I just could not miss on the Beavers. And I just love picking football games. But I have stunk this year. And what's interesting is that Nick Wright and Danny Parkins at FS1 have both been on fire, hitting like 65%. So congrats to those guys. But my overall takeaway really on the playoffs this year is there's not a lot of surprises. I mean, right now I have, if Baltimore beats the Steelers Saturday, I'll have, 6 of the 8 teams I picked to win the division winning, and Green Bay and the Falcons close. Um, what is pretty clear, and the reason I picked those teams to win the division was like head coach and quarterback. And so I think the one thing I look at this year as a real positive, I think Caleb can play. I think Jaden Daniels can play. I think Bo Nix can play. My guess is JJ McCarthy can play. I don't know what the hell's going on with Michael Penix because I really liked him out of college. I thought he was a bigger, stronger, better deep ball Tua. And Tua is more than capable, but he just can't throw the ball deep downfield. He's not good against pressure or really elite defenses or in cold weather. You have to qualify everything with Tua. I think Penix throws a much better, sharper deep ball, stronger, longer, just a bigger athlete. But I think we have a chance to go 5 for 5 with quarterbacks. And this is not a great quarterback year in college, but if the quarterbacks go 4 for 5 or 5 for 5, this group of quarterbacks, it will be the third draft since around 2018 where you've had multiple first round quarterbacks hit. And I don't think we'll ever get to a saturation point where, everybody's got their quarterback. But I don't remember a time where there were this many good quarterbacks. Even Aaron Rodgers in the last month has been unbelievable. Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts this weekend was sensational. Bo Nix makes mistakes, but he's clearly a franchise guy. His toughness, his athletic ability, he throws the ball. He's got a better arm, I think, in the pros than I thought he had it in college. So I think big picture, as the leagues become more have and have nots, I think we had another bumper quarterback draft class. I only saw J.J. McCarthy in the preseason, but in the couple appearances, I thought he was really quick, really nimble, and he reminded me a little bit of Sam Darnold, that he was really aggressive. And I think Kevin O'Connell's proven, the Vikings head coach, he can coach a lot of that out of you. So, and another part of this quarterback journey is there's better quarterback coaches. When all your marketing team does is put out fires, they burn out fast, sifting through leads, creating content for infinite channels, endlessly searching for disparate performance KPIs, all takes a toll. But with HubSpot, you can stop team burnout in its tracks. Plus, your team can achieve their best results without breaking a sweat. With Breeze, HubSpot's collection of AI tools, you can pinpoint the best leads possible, capture prospects' attention with click-worthy content, access all your company's data in one place, no sifting through tabs necessary. It's all waiting for your team in HubSpot. Keep your marketers cool and make your campaign results hotter than ever. Visit HubSpot.com/marketers to learn more. So I think the guy down in Tampa, Liam Cohen under Baker Mayfield, who was briefly in Los Angeles, I think he's going to get looks. I think the quality of offensive coaching has really improved. That's why you're seeing Darnold and Baker Mayfield, a rebirth. I think they're sensational coaching offensively. I didn't feel that 15 years ago in the NFL. I think it's everywhere, and I think the talent's everywhere. So, yesterday we had a really ugly 1 o'clock window. It was the first time all year I was bored watching the NFL where I thought, man, this is just a bad early window. But I mean, this weekend, the college and the pro games this weekend starting Friday night, Indiana at Notre Dame. The next Friday, Saturday, Sunday could be the most sensational 3 day stretch of football in a year. And a lot of it is because of quarterback play and very sharp offensive coaching.